What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, we may have some weather for the game on Monday night. It's going to be in the high 70s, lower 80s, which is basically regular Miami weather. But there's a 40% chance of thunderstorms, which means it's going to rain. Like, they can tell you me 40%, it's going to rain. But aside from the rain, there's also going to be wind. And they're saying 7 to 10 mile per hour winds, but gusts up to 20 miles per hour. This all sounds like a lot of stuff, like a tropical depression type stuff. The reason I think this could be an issue is because once it rains, the field itself gets slick, and then speed is neutralized. That's one of the benefits of it raining is that it makes you slow down. That's just kind of what happens because when you make those sharp cuts, you slip, and they have to change the cleats. So you might have to go from 1.5s to 2s, which is the length of the cleat. You may have to go to deeper cleats, which means you can't be as quick because you have to take choppier steps. It just changes a little bit. And our biggest advantage in basically any game, especially offensively, is our ability to be fast on offense. So if we can't be fast on offense, that is less good for us, right? Also, if the ball is wet, the ball is heavier, it's harder to throw. We have a quarterback who doesn't throw the ball super far or with a lot of power. That's a problem. If it's windy, the ball changes in the air. So when you can throw a tight spiral, that's why they love like those up north cities, the Detroit's, the Baltimore's, the Kansas City. Kansas City's not up north, but it's in the cold weather type situation. They love quarterbacks with big arms. That's why Josh Allen in Buffalo made so much sense. You can throw through the weather. If it's snowy, if it's windy, if it's rainy, you can throw through it. If your power is not there and the spiral is not good enough, the ball will wobble in the air and it's going to lead to some errant throws. We know that, Tua up to this point of the year has been errant with some throws, especially the ones downfield. And if we have weather concerns, meaning the ball's wet, or if the gloves get wet, so now the ball's not sticking as well, or if the footing is not good, Tua might make a perfect throw. Like, hey, that post is going to be open in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to throw it now. And then they go to make the break. Oh, I slipped on the field. Now the ball's in the air. It leads to an easy pick, right? That's kind of what happens there. The remedy for bad weather games is to run the ball, which is what I've been saying the entire offseason. Because you run the ball, yes, there's some security with the running back, but they're used to running the ball and they do drills where they get the ball wet and they get punched at it and stuff. So they should be more equipped. It's also much easier for the O-line to go forward than to go backwards. So if they're going backwards and they take a false step, they can get ran past by the D end or the D tackle. All of a sudden they're on your quarterback. Sorry, man, I slipped, but your slip led to a 10-yard sack. When you're going forward, you get those D linemen on skates, you can kind of maul them a little bit. You can jump on top of them, like squish them a little bit. Like there's a lot more advantages going forward. I hope we adjust the play calling accordingly and add more running to it, especially if it starts raining later in the game. But that's something to keep your eye on because I don't think many people think about it because, Miami is Miami. We know the weather is temperamental. It rains, it's humid, it's hot. But during a football game, those things matter. So we have some secondary things to be concerned about. Jason Marshall Jr. will not be at the game. Storm Duck will not be there. And Ethan Bonner is a game time decision, but it's leaning towards unlikely to play, which means it's going to be Rasul Douglas, Jack Jones, and I don't remember who this third corner is going to be starting. But it's basically we have more guys out in the secondary. Yes, that's what we normally do. I've already said my biggest concern, of course, is Garrett Wilson. It seems like we normally put Jack Jones on the other team's like number one person. I don't like the matchup because Jack Jones is a gambler as a cornerback, meaning he'll try to jump routes that he thinks are happening, which is great when it works. He sees a slant, breaks inside, gets his hands on the ball, he can pick six it, right? He did that a few times with the Raiders. We like that. The other thing is that if we know you're a gambler, then we may throw double moves at you. So we might have Garrett Wilson start a slant and then slug a slant, then go. And if you jump the slant and he hits that inside step and goes upfield, there's going to be a lot of green grass ahead of him. And we don't necessarily love that. I think Rasul Douglas will match up with the number 2 receiver well enough. So I'm fine in that matchup. I just think Garrett Wilson is one of the elite receivers in the league who just never had a quarterback that was consistently good throughout any year for him. So, like, his stats don't look like he's that elite. But when you watch him play, I'm like, that guy's making a lot of plays, man. Like, he gets open. He contorts his body. He's got good hands. Like, He's good at the catch, even though he's not super big or super fast. He does a lot of the little stuff. He's a very typical Ohio State receiver. Chris Olave is the same way, right? They like Emeka Buka is the same way. They have a lot of guys who come through that Ohio State pipeline where it's like your top end speed is like mid 4.4s. You're between 6 foot and 6'1", and you just get open and make plays. Like Jackson Smith and Jigba, they're all kind of the same guy. Great, but like great in their own way. So I don't love the fact that we're down corners because that means that we're probably not going to be as good in the secondary as we should be. The beauty of this matchup is that I don't think the Jets are a particularly great throwing team. So our biggest deficiency on defense does not get overridden by their biggest offensive thing, right? They want to run the ball. That's what they want to do. And then they pass off of the run. Brees Hall is a man. The O-line is big. We'll get in Justin Fields in a second. But at some point, they will be throwing the ball. And at some point, they will be going to Garrett Wilson. Maybe Mason Taylor Jr. Shout out to, or not Jr., Mason Taylor. He's Jason Taylor's son. Legend Miami. We know what that is. So they have targets in the Jets, but they don't have like elite receivers. They have one elite receiver, and then they have just guys that typically you would think, all right, my secondary got it. But when you're playing, backup and third and fourth string guys in the secondary, then it's like, I don't know. So we'll see about that matchup. Hopefully Bonner can play. He's kind of a game time, so we'll see. He's been kind of banged up all week. If he can give it a go, and he's like our fourth corner rotation, that's great. That means we can really change our packages where guys can get breathers. We can maybe go to a dime defense at some points. We'll figure out how we actually do, how we choose to defend. I think we might even go more safety heavy in this game because they want to run the ball so much. It might help to have another safety on the field that can double in coverage and also in run protection, because I think they're going to run the ball 35 to 40 times this game if they can. So I'd rather have a 220-pound safety than a 190-pound corner if we're trying to defend the run more. But I'm not Anthony Weaver. I'll let him figure out what he wants to do. So as I mentioned before, Justin Fields is now projected to start for the game. Tyrod Taylor started the last game. Justin Fields had a concussion. He's past protocol. He's expected to start on Monday night. This presents different issues. Tyrod is mobile, but mostly wants to be in the pocket. Much better down the field thrower. Those pretty good moon balls. Just a leader, experienced kind of guy. Justin Fields he's a mixed bag. You don't really know what you're going to get because he can get the game where he has literally 200 yards rushing and like 100 yards passing, and it's like, man, it's the best dual threat I've ever seen in my life. And he can also have a game where he throws for like 60 yards, 2 or 3 picks, misses guys wide open. You don't know what you're going to get. What you do know is that him as a run threat is diabolical. We played him, I believe it was last year. It could have been 2 years ago. And when he was with Chicago. And he ran all over Miami. He was breaking tackles. It'll be like, he'll be set up to pass. It's a passing play. Oh, no pass. Cut. 50 yards around the edge. I mean, he was running to daylight all game. And I was like, hey, who's guarding him? And it's like, well, we had a linebacker spy, but he's not fast enough. That's the problem when you have spies sometimes. They're not fast enough to actually stop the quarterback. I assume we will have somebody in there to watch Justin Fields. I do not feel confident they are fast enough to stop Justin Fields from running. I think the best they can hope for is that Justin is flushing toward the sideline and they can kind of like use the sideline as another defender and force him out of bounds. But if he's in the middle of the field against any of our linebackers in a one-on-one fade, I don't feel confident that they can get him down. He is elite at running. He's bigger than most quarterbacks. He's legitimately fast, and he's aggressive when he runs. He doesn't run the ball to like slide down comfortably. He's running with bad intentions. He's trying to get yards, and then he's trying to hit his head on the score. Like, he's trying to score. He's trying to score. He runs with bad intentions. So this is a problem that we were kind of hoping we can kind of get Tyrod, because at least we know that's mostly going to be a passing threat. Justin Fields, I think, throws a pretty good deep ball. He's not great intermediate, but, you know, he does create some matchup issues. 3rd and 4 and below can at any point be a quarterback run. Like, and they call quarterback runs. It'll just be a quarterback power. Just like, I hike, y'all go lead block, the quarterback's running. He could do like option kind of things. Him and Brees on the option, dangerous, because Brees is super fast, very elusive. Justin Fields, not as fast, still really fast, bigger, and now you got to deal with both those guys. I don't like how we've been doing against the run. I mentioned earlier this week, I believe, that our run defense has been awful this year, giving up like 140 yards a game. And now we're going against a team who has been really good at running the ball with a great running quarterback and a really talented running back who also is a good receiver, which means that he will be matched up against some of our linebackers in coverage, and our linebackers cannot cover. So they can't cover him in the passing game, and I'm not confident they will stop him in the running game. I am very concerned about the Jets running the ball. I think we will probably end up playing some version of man, maybe with a little bit of help over top for Garrett Wilson, and just kind of stack the box, hopefully play 6-7 man boxes and just try to corral them, because if Brees or Justin Fields gets past our front line, they could be going all the way. They're fast enough to do that, and our secondary has decided they don't want to defend the run this year. These guys don't want to tackle. They're too cool for school. If our front seven don't get them down, I don't feel confident our back four or back five are going to do it. I just don't. Just based on what I've seen, that's not what I'm seeing. I'm saying if you get past the linebackers, if we don't have a perfect angle, you housing it. So, lot to unpack. I was kind of hoping Justin would be out for this game because he presents more matchup problems, but we got what we got. So let's get to a prediction. I believe the weather will very much so be a factor in this game. I think this is going to be a very run-heavy game. Run-heavy games favor the Jets for sure because the Jets are a better running team. Point blank, period. I don't know if Quentin Williams is going to be playing either. I got to check the injury report for that. If he isn't playing, great. I know one of their linebackers will be out, so that helps us on the running side of it. But if this is going to be a low-scoring defensive running game, that obviously favors the Jets because that's literally how they want to play football. Their coach is a defensive coordinator. Their quarterback is a running quarterback. Brees Hall is their best offensive weapon. Maybe like him and Garrett, you can flip a coin, what have you. And their offensive line is built to run the ball. That's what they want to do. Miami, I believe, has the capabilities of running the ball as well as anybody if we decide to commit to it. I think Ollie Gordon's emergence has added an element to it. I think Jalen Wright is in line to play in this game. Like he's been practicing the last week and a half, either limited or more or less full participant. So if we have the full stable of backs between obviously Devon, Ali, and then Jalen, we have all our running backs. The offensive line, dicey. Offensive line, not so great. But I think Aaron Brewer actually is guarded currently as the number one pass blocking offensive lineman in the whole league, which is crazy. Like if he gets on the block, he holds the block. They don't get past him. He gets pushed. He's been dominant as a run blocker. It's the other guards next to him who have not been doing their job. So, I believe in him fully. This might be a good chance for Jonah to have a coming out party. He has been underwhelming up to this point. We mentioned the right guard issues in our last episode. And tackles, I think Patrick Paul has been good. Right tackle, But this matchup favors teams that are better at not turning the ball over, running the ball, and then playing good defense. So on paper, the Jets, I think, match up better in that regard. It also depends on how much weather there's going to be. If the weather is like a quick rainstorm, the field more or less dries out relatively quickly, and then we can keep playing, that obviously favors Miami because we want to be up and down. We want to move the ball to the outside and run a little bit. I think the team has been prepping for this all year. I think the urgency for us to win is more than the Jets, frankly. I don't think there's any expectations of the Jets firing their coach. I think Aaron Glenn was who they wanted. I think, when they get more talent on that team, they're going to be great. They could have won 2 of their games so far. They just didn't. On our team, there's a lot more desperation. I think every coach knows if our defense gets housed in this game, I think Weaver knows. I don't think Coach McDaniel's going to get fired during the year, barring, an 0-12 type start, which I don't think we're going to have, right? So I don't think he will get fired during the year, but I do think he might be informed. We're not going to retain your services. And then for people like Tyreek, who, whatever level of trade asset you think he is one. I think 2 of our defensive ends are tradable. I don't know if Tua is tradable, but I do think Tua, being benched is a thing. There's a lot more pressure on this game, but Tua's been going back and forth with Cam Newton, which is dumb. Coach McDaniel's been in the media talking, which is not great. It's a standalone Monday night game. Luckily, there's 2 Monday night games, so people's attention might be split a little bit, but it's a standalone game on ESPN. which means the whole sports world is going to be looking at it and talking about it. And anything we do wrong will be just meticulously taken apart. And, some Tua's bad on fourth downs. And it's a lot that goes into that. So this might be the homer in me saying it with my heart. I have this game being a 20-17 type game, maybe 23-20. I think it comes down to a field goal. I don't think either team gets to the 30s, but I think they both are able to move the ball pretty well. I think it will come down to who executes in the red zone better. I think both teams, I can see them like running into issues in the red zone. So mostly Miami because we don't run the ball a ton, but I think we'll have more good possessions. I think being at home is always an advantage. So I'm going to bet with my heart a little bit and also just my head. I don't think the Jets are a great team. And I don't know if Justin Fields is going to want to run as much as he can because he is just coming off of a concussion, right? So, yes, he'll run. I'm not going to think he's going to just sit in the pocket all day. But is he going to be as aggressive running? Is he running to slide, which he normally doesn't do? Or is he running to try to, deliver some punishment? I think he's more likely to run to slide, which means he won't be necessarily reticent to run, but he won't be trying to run to get giant yardage. It'll be more like, oh, the pocket's collapsing, let me get out of here, versus I can run 80 yards, which I think is how he normally plays the quarterback position. So I'm going to pick Miami 23-20. I think Tua will have one touchdown, one pick. I think Ali Gordon's going to have a touchdown run. I think Devon's going to have a lot of catches off dump offs. I think it'll be a game that can go either way, but we'll just make a couple more plays throughout the game. And hopefully, weather permitting, we end up getting a last second field goal and taking home the dub. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.